Hello everybody and welcome back to another What If Civilization Started Over video. And today we are going to be looking at more stuff happening, and there's going to be a new thing that's going to be happening as well as the beginning of the Cold War. But the thing that's going to be happening is going to take place down here in Oceania, and it's going to be with these islands. These have existed, and you might have thought, oh well, I just forgot to color them in with the Papua New Guinea team. That's actually wrong. They were never colonized, and a new country is just going to pop up here. Of course, there were already people living here, but they just weren't like in a country. And most of these islands are going to become part of this new country, as well as this big group of islands. And they're going to go ahead and get a capital, and they're going to put it on this island right here, in sort of the middle of everywhere. So, it'll be there now. Maybe they can do something with that. But immediately, it's going to go bad for them, as all of this area is going to be taken over, seized control of, over by the Papua New Guinea team. And we're also going to see some of these other islands being colonized a bit. And now there's a new country on the map. It's pretty small, and honestly, you might not notice it. But we have the Cold War to get into, and let's start. And so we saw the new nuclear powers. There was the red team over here. There was the Korean team, the Russian team, the Baltic Union team, the Spanish team, and the American team. And first of all, like I said last episode, the Cyan team does have nukes. Okay, they have nukes. It's just they gave away their one nuke that they had made to the red team to get them up to 30 nukes, and we are going to be seeing more of that as we're going to update the count first on the red team, and we're going to rewrite that, and they now have 30 nukes to begin with, and they now have 38 nukes. Oops. So they now have 38 nukes, sorry. And then we're going to be looking at Russia, and they will probably have about, so they had 24 before, and they're going to go up to 29 nukes. We're going to move that over a bit. Now, we're going to go up to the Baltic Union. They're already starting to produce nukes, as they have 4 nukes in development. Then, we are now going to look at Spain, and they're up to 4 nukes, so they doubled their production. And also, we're going to look at the Cyan team, who is going to be getting 2 nukes. So they still know how to make nukes, they just didn't have any. And now we're also going to look at America, and they don't have 3 nukes anymore. They have 6 nukes. So, it has been updated, and I'm going to do power rankings, and then I'm going to show you the main people involved in the Cold War. Okay, so number 1 in the world right now is going to be the red team, okay? So, the red team, number 1, okay? Number 2 is going to be the Korean team, as those two were already like, so the red team was already like around number 1, number 2, pretty much tied with Russia, and Korea was behind at number 3. But now that Russia, the Civil War just happened, they're not as strong. I mean, they're still pretty strong. They have most of their valuable land, but they lost a bit, so that's going to hurt them a bit. So Russia, yeah, I'm going to label this as red. Okay, next, number 4 in the entire world is going to be America. Number 5 is going to be the Cyan team. 6 is going to be Spain. And 7 is going to be South Africa. So those are the power rankings for the biggest people. And yeah, right after 7 would be number 8. And number 8 is going to be Malaysia. I'm going to go to 10. Number 9 is going to be this country right here. This one right here. That one is going to be number 9. And then we're also going to see one more country, and we're going to call that country Mongolia. And then number 10 is going to be the Australian Empire. So, number 1, again, red team. Number 2, Korea. Number 3 is Russia. 4 is the American team. 5 is Cyan team. 6 is Spain. 7, South Africa. 8 is Malaysia. 9 is again Mongolia. And 10 is Australian Empire. So we're going to check back. This time we're going to be looking at the how much they're going to be involved in the war. And we're going to start with the 3 main people, as well as the 3 who are not involved in it as much. And it's going to be mainly between Russia, so I'm going to draw a circle. And it's also going to be the red team. Then it's going to be America. Then it's going to be Korea. And as you can see, the Cold War in real life had 2 people in it, the United States of America and the Russian Federation, or the Soviet Union, until it broke up into all the different pieces. But now it's going to be between 4 countries, with all of them being in Asia besides America. And the Cold War is now going to start. And it starts out with the American team, and we're going to go to them, and then we're going to change their color up a bit to make it lighter. And now we're going to have them marching, and they're going to march down into this country, and they're going to start taking them over slowly. I'm going to zoom in a bit more. It's mostly on this side, And I'm going to turn on major cities so you can see. They don't have any other major cities. So we're going to turn that back off. We're going to see them come back up through here and go up through here. It makes some advances down the shore until they get attacked back and over here where they get all this land back until they get to up there. And they also make a push back over here. And they eventually claim the city. And then they make a push back in, back down, capture all the sideline. And they eventually make it into the center. And then this country is going to join the war in hopes of them getting a little bit more land as they immediately go up through and they take about this whole province over and just a little bit more until we get back to them and they officially take over the country where it can be divided up and the capital gone. And basically all that's going to happen is this Georgian team gets this province as well as that area, and then the rest of this land goes over to them, the American team. And so now we're going to get into how the Cold War starts. This is like the event that happens right before the main event of the main event that leads to the Cold War. And what happens is the green team has its troops, and it had them like mainly staged in like some places. So some of them were down here because they just were in a war with them, and a good amount of them are like over here. But they just sent some of these troops up into here and up into here from there to try to retake some of these areas. And it wants the nuke research stations. And as you can see, the nuke research stations, if Russia, they had one about right there, and that was like their first research station, and then they added these two. Those are like the older ones from World War II, but then they've recently added this one, that one, and that one. So they've added a lot, a good amount. And now they've sent more troops up to get the newly built one that's right there. So they've sent troops up, and then that puts like conflict at each other. And also we can see in the alliance map that the main trigger of this is going to be the alliance that the cyan team just joined, which has the red team, the brown team, the green team, and the cyan team. And the reason why this is so big is because basically what happened is the troops from the green team, which shares an alliance with some of the strongest people in the world. Oh, and I didn't include the brown team in that, but they would have been like number 4 because they're pretty strong. So, like some of the strongest people in the entire world, and so that really like puts it out. And now there's like tension growing between the two alliances, and one of the main reasons for this is going to be the addition of the Baltic Union up here, and they're going to be added to the alliance, which is really going to make the Russian team mad, and conflicts are just going to rise. And we can see the Association of Nations, it's like this, and eventually they get their other ally to join. And so now they've joined the alliance. Just like that. And so now they've joined the Association of Nations. And from here on out, it just kind of collapses. As we see all of these countries down here in Europe, Africa, all three of these, plus the pink one, they all decide to leave. So they've left now. And now we have these new countries that are just left. And that's gonna be take a sharp. It's gonna take a sharp turn as this country right here leaves, and that's gonna be like really it for it. And I want to say that this was made between like the founding people of the Circle Team Alliance. So like some of their allies are gonna do it, but with the right intentions. Spain is not going to side with them as they're going to leave. As well as America, they're going to leave. So now there's like one. Texas is the only one in America. There are 3 people in South America, so that's pretty good. And then we also see the Korean team leave. So the major people in the alliance and the Association of Nations have left that aren't aligned with the team. And another team that's going to leave is the purple team right here, because they just got invaded by some of the co-founding members. So they're going to leave. And now we can see that there's just barely anybody who's actually like on it. It's a good amount of the Nordic area, and some of Europe, and not really much of Africa. There's like Southern Africa that's in it. Not really many people that join it. And then we're going to see the mass production of nukes in the next episode, and this episode. They're like constantly building them up. But troops are basically being stationed all around this line, just like this, as well as up here in the Baltic Union, as well as right here. It's being like that, and then also with this area over here. I need to fix this. It looks like. But yeah, that area goes to them. It was supposed to anyway. Well, I fixed it back now. And now we're going to see the last event in the episode that's going to make the official start to the war. And it is going to be the addition of, ready for it? Okay, and what's going to happen is a Malaysian Civil War. And the AN is going to get involved in this, as everybody who borders them is part of the AN. But there is going to be one thing happening. There's going to be a treaty signed by all the members of the AN that you cannot, if there's like a civil war or a revolution or rebellion or anything like that, you cannot intercept until the second month, where you can then intercept. And that's going to play a big part here. And alliances are not allowed to intercept rebellions and anything like that anymore. It's now like illegal. And that's going to be very bad for them, as the Civil War is just about to kick off. And it's going to be pretty devastating, as the first signs of it pop up over here in this lightest grayish green country, like that. And it's going to continue on, just like this. And so the new government has been formed, but immediately uprisings are going to happen. And it's not going to be good because they immediately take the capital. And then they start popping up in different spots like this major city. And in this area. Until eventually all this area is back to normal. But the new government still holds out. And now there's going to be major cities. Yeah. But now they're going to make it into so there's two countries here, and boom, and now we can see that this country has been divided up a lot recently, as there are three countries that came from it and that are gone. The cyan one, the dark red one, and now this lighter orange color. I'm going to make it a lighter color. Maybe like this. Yeah, that'll be good enough. So, now we're going to check back down here, as this place has sped up the revolution, as they've already gone all the way over to here, taken all these islands. But in return, they lost some of the land down here. We're starting to being cut off, but they did hold out pretty good, and until they didn't. And it becomes two new areas, with the area at the top becoming this color. And so they're the new country now. And so they're here now. And they're going to spread out just a bit. Eventually, they're going to recut them off with this right here. And eventually the pink team is going to be able to reconnect up with all this land. And now there are 4 different rebellions. And at one point it gets so bad for the team that they make some land gangs over here. But it gets so bad that they get cut off from the sea at one point, and this major city gets taken by this one team. And now you can tell it's getting really bad. But eventually, they're able to reclaim it back as theirs, as well as take a little bit from these guys and push them back to about there. And now we have 4 rebellions, and this is going to be like most of the Civil War. Like most of it's already happened, but one more part of it is going to come out of it, and that's going to change things up a bit. And it's going to be this pasty color, and it's going to start down here, and it's eventually going to wrap up and then take over these 2 major cities immediately. And so now it has all this area. And it's immediately going to head up and claim this major city. It gets about something like this big. And recently we haven't really seen many pushbacks by this team, as their military is getting very weak. And most of these rebellions, like this rebellion down here, it was also like, it was being like, this team was sending aid to it, and this rebellion right here, the newest one, was being sent aid from the brown team. And it's a pretty big rebellion, but eventually the Dark Cyan team will be able to press back just a little bit and reclaim the top one, the top area of it, and some areas down here, and take a major city back, which they're doing pretty good now. Over here, they're able to reclaim a little bit more, but eventually they're able to take about that much back, and a little bit up here, as well as that area. Then we see a major offensive, counteroffensive by this team, as he sent a lot of their military and captured this area, as well as all the top area of it. Then they start making the spearhead to this main area, and eventually capture all this. So it was a pretty big offensive, and they gained a lot of ground. And all of these areas are going to sign a treaty, except for one, but we'll get to that after the peace treaty. And the peace treaty is going to start now. And we're going to start off over here, and this team got a good amount of land. Not as much as they had. They probably had stuff that went over to around here, but in the peace treaty they were able to get this. Now we move on to the purple country, and you might notice that they have this little area over here. There's no major city there, but it's not connected. It's an exclave. It can be connected by like sea routes, but it is an exclave. And now we move down to here as this country, and it has like all this border, and it got some of the land over there, but this is one of the smaller ones. I think it got the least amount of land out of all of them. And then this country right here has still not like signed a treaty with the Malaysian team, and the Korean country got a good amount. But let's go ahead and put their capital cities on. Right there. Right there. Also, this country right here shares the border, shares the major city right there. Right there. Right there. And now we have capitals on. Next thing is down here in this country, seeing that they all got their independence, they decided to say that they they already declared independence, but it's kind of different this time. But they're not going to be allowed to have independence, and they're going to get fully taken over by this team for a good amount of time until the rebellion breaks out again. And it's more this color this time. As they move up like this. And they end up taking all this land over. And this time there's going to be a lot of independence. And their couple's going to be right there. And so that's the end of the Malaysian Civil War. And now we have a broken up Malaysia, which is going to be pretty bad for them, as they only have one access route to the Indian Sea, being right here, and it's going to become a very important area, and so much so that they're going to get a major city right there, and that's really like it for them. And they're pretty big, and they're a lot less big than they were. They lost maybe a third of their land, but we're not really going to call them Malaysia anymore because they don't really have Malaysian territory, as Malaysia is more like down here in this area. And as you can see, I think it goes up like this. But most of that area is under these three guys' control. And they do own a good amount of it. They just don't own that much of it. So I think we should call them Vietnam now, because they do have the Vietnam coast on the sideline. But I think I'm just going to call them South Asian country for now, until we can find a better name for them. Next thing is we're going to be looking at something that happens in America, as America, and lately we've seen that they've gained more land, as in they just fought the orange team and gained all this land, and then they fought Florida and gained these 3 provinces. But now they're going to go back to war with the green team, and they're going to start by invading into this area, the Michigan area where they originally wanted. And they go in and they only take like the Erie Peninsula, I think it is. No, they stuff around Lake Erie and all of Michigan. They end up taking all of that, and they sign a peace treaty. But in the peace treaty, they're only going to be allowed to get all of this land. So they get all of Michigan back, and then Lake Erie. But this little area right here is not going to stay with them. It's going to go back to the brown team. And then we get to see all this stuff goes back, and the war was a very quick one, but it made a bit of a difference. And the next thing is a really big thing. It's them declaring neutrality. So they're pretty neutral now, and with like how much stuff that's been happening, they're going to rejoin the Association of Nations, because they declared neutrality, so no one really has a reason to be mad at them. But they are now neutral, and we also have to update the new countries and what they are. So first of all, this country right here is not going to be in the Association of Nations. They're not going to join. Then down here, there are only 2 countries that join, and these 3 are the ones that don't join. And this one, they join. And in the alliance map, we can see that there are these 3 on an alliance. But next we are going to see more alliance additions. And the first of this addition is going to be the team right here, and it is going to be the South Vietnam team, as they're going to join the Circle team, as the only reason they exist is because of the brown team funding. And the next one that joins an alliance is going to be this Chinese team that just broke away, and they're going to be joining the long rectangle team, just like this. And so that raises tensions in this area up a bit, And another thing that's going to raise tensions a lot more between the three groups is going to be right here, and this team is going to join the Long Triangle team. And this gets Russia mad because they didn't like that they decided to ally with one of their revolutions. And that's one of the main other reasons that they're also mad, is because the red team allied with the Baltic Union. So now they're all kind of angry at each other, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that's happening that's going to change stuff, and it's going to impact the Cold War and many future big wars that are going to happen. And we know that the American team is out. They don't have anything to do with this. And so this is really a war between the red team, the Korean team, and what's left of the Russian team. And as well as Spain has a little bit to do with it, but they're not going to join any alliances yet, as they would not want to join the Circle team because they don't like the Dark Sign team. Because the whole reason they don't like it is because when they were part of the Cyan team down here, the big Cyan team empire that was ginormous, it expanded from all of down here all the way into territory like this, and it included all this bit of Africa. So all this was part of the Cyan team empire, and it was a pretty big empire, but I mean it collapsed, and Spain used to be a part of it too until it got taken over by the Dark Sign team, and they were setting up colonies, and eventually it turned into this team that we have now. And then several other things happened and it left, and then turned into this blue team that we have here. And then we came back, and then the blue team's here as well. But it doesn't like the blue team either, and it's going to join the square team. And the main reason for this is, you guessed it, it's going to be for the invasion of this little country, the blue country. They don't really have anything. They're kind of weak, but they're going to be immediately getting attacked by the orange team. And the empire, this blue team is going to be threatened. Its capital is going to be threatened, and it's going to come around on all these sides. And then the Cyan team gets involved in the war, and it's going to go like this in this color, and eventually when it comes out to the end, this team has all this stuff, and the orange team has all this stuff. So we're going to, yeah, the capital is gone now. So now they get all this, and in the peace treaty, it's just not going to exist, as it's going to be taken over. It's going to take over all this area,
that's not a good idea.
including this area. So they get more land out of this. That's kind of like their rival. And then the orange team is on the rise, as they'll get back all this territory down here, as well as this territory. And all that goes to this team. And now the orange team is like an Italian empire. It's expanded into France and Spain. And they got a lot of land, which is very good for them. And they are now looking kind of like a very, very small Roman Empire, I guess. But yeah, just like an Italian empire. and we might see more on this later, and their reemergence as more of like a regional power, and because like all these guys are influenced by this team, as well as lesser influence, like in this area. Like they have influence over here, it's just not as big. And like all these areas, So that's there. And the orange team might get bigger eventually. It might not. But for now, that's probably going to do it for today's episode. And I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.